A lot of very brave people, a lot of people that are dead right now, unfortunately, because I've said, and nobody's disputed it, that if the election weren't rigged and stolen, 2020, you wouldn't have had this war, would have never happened. And it didn't happen for 4 years, never was even thought to happen.
Oh my God, Zelenskyy might as well be standing next to Vladimir Putin himself at this point. He's standing next to a deranged old tyrant who was rambling about stolen elections and wars that shouldn't have happened. It might as well just be Vladimir Putin standing next to Zelenskyy. They are currently holding a meeting in Palm Beach, Florida, to try to finally bring Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine to an end. It started off with Donald Trump and Vladimir Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine, standing in front of Mar-a-Lago while Trump claimed that Putin was the one that surely wanted peace. It's important to point out Putin has been relentlessly drone striking Ukraine, not only for years, but intensely since Christmas night. So there is no peace coming from Vladimir Putin whatsoever. In fact, Zelenskyy is the one who has made a bunch of good faith efforts for peace. They then went into a closed door meeting that was supposed to be open for the press until Trump decided to kick the press out. I made a video about this earlier, and they ended with a joint press conference at Mar-a-Lago where the United States and Ukraine flag can be seen side by side. But that is the only pro-Ukraine sentiment that we see throughout this whole meeting, because through the rest of it, Donald Trump is blabbering his way through, spewing Russian propaganda verbatim, lying about stolen elections. Just to debunk what he said there was no thought of the war for 4 years while he was the president. Dude, the war was still ongoing. Crimea was actively occupied while you were the president.
And I spoke with President Putin. I got along with him very well, despite the Russia hoax, which was a total hoax. He used to say, what is going on over there? But it was a total hoax, as he knew and as I knew. But I spoke to him, and we'd talk about Ukraine. I've said it before. It was the apple of his eye, but he wasn't going to do anything about it. He didn't do anything about it until I was gone, and then a lot of really bad statements were made by people.
Two contradictory things are being said. He says the war would have never happened if you were the president, but then he's saying the war is still going on. Yeah, you are the president right now, and the war is happening. So if you're going to claim that you're some ultimate deterrent of war, why does that not apply right now, where Putin is still slaughtering thousands of people every single month? Let's check this out. Trump says some of the land has been taken.
Something that comes up, I'd speak, but otherwise I don't think there's any reason to.
In your mind, sir, what are the thorniest issues still unresolved after the?
Well, I think the land you're talking about. Some of that land has been taken. Some of that land is maybe up for grabs, but it may be taken over the next period of a number of months. And are you better off making a deal now? Look, let me tell you, they have been very brave. They fought very hard and continue to fight very hard and do tremendous damage. But Russia would like to see it end, and Ukraine would like to see it. And
I think I'm going to lose my effing mind. What do you mean Russia would like to see it end? Okay, let's put an end to this narrative once and for all. Vladimir Putin is the one who has repeatedly invaded neighboring countries in a terroristic, territorial way. He has an ambition to restore the greater Soviet Union, and he will not stop until the Soviet Union is what it used to be. Well, I guess Russia is what the Soviet Union used to be. He wants all of the land in Eastern Europe. Donald Trump continues to say that Ukraine started the war, that Russia wants peace. He is being tricked by Vladimir Putin, whose strategy is to convince people that he wants peace, end a war temporarily, and then reignite that war down the road. It's happened time and time and time again, and Trump is falling for Putin's strategy of prolongating the war.
It's time to end. And a lot of very brave people, a lot of people that are dead right now, unfortunately, because I've said, and nobody's disputed it, that if the election weren't rigged and stolen, 2020, you wouldn't have had this war, would have never happened. And
is this an acid trip where he's just looping back to the same talking points over and over and over again? In this next clip, Trump gets asked about Putin.
In the readout from Moscow, they talked about the creation of some working groups that would be set. Can you tell us about what those working groups would entail? And also, if you wouldn't mind, what is the message that you will give to Putin when you speak to him after your meeting?
So the working group is going to be composed of Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, General Raisin Cain, Marco Rubio, and a few other people that we're going to be putting onto it. I think Pete Hegseth should be in that working group. He knows the territory very well. He's been fantastic at what he's doing. And they may add one or two people. And likewise, Ukraine's going to have some very good people that were at lunch today that enjoyed the lunch today a lot, more than they thought, right? But
oh, we are so cooked. Zelenskyy looks so defeated every single time he's standing next to Donald Trump. It looks like he's just thinking this guy is such an effing idiot. Donald Trump lists off his working group, which includes people like Pete Hegseth, the great, brilliant mind of Pete Hegseth, who likely can't point to Ukraine on a map. Now, the thing is, people like Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio, you can actually find pro-Ukraine recordings of them, just like from a few years back. But it feels like Trump infects everybody with this pro-Russia, far-right populist strain and turns Marco Rubio into someone who's like, at best, quiet about the situation now. I know for a fact Marco Rubio knows deep down Russia's the bad guy, but Trump doesn't know that, so Marco can't say it.
where are you from?
From Ukraine.
Good, I had a feeling.
Public broadcaster.
Good.
And how about Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant? Have you discussed this question?
On what?
Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant.
Yeah, we discussed that at length today. As you know, it's in pretty good shape. It can start up immediately, almost immediately. And it's one of the things I discussed with President Putin. And they were talking about the nuclear plant. That's probably the biggest in the world, just about the biggest anywhere in the world. Can you believe that? And President Putin's actually working with Ukraine on getting it open. He's been very good in that sense. He wants to see that open.
Putin is probably salivating. Putin probably is giddy every single time he gets off the phone with Trump and realizes how easy it was to manipulate the big dumb orange man. I'm sorry, but this situation in particular gets me uniquely mad because it's so black and white. Like, it should be so easy to see that the larger country is invading a smaller next door neighbor in the same way that the situation between Israel and Gaza is rather black and white at this point. Israel is disproportionately striking, but as it pertains to Russia and Ukraine, Lord have mercy. Vladimir Putin for decades has been known as an evil dictator on the global stage, yet Donald Trump doesn't seem to understand. To continue, he says, you know, he went through the Russia hoax with Putin. He talks about Putin like a long-lost boyfriend.
But I think we're going to get it done. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, you in the past have suggested a trilateral meeting between both Presidents Putin and Zelenskyy. Is
Right.
that something that is also on the docket?
I see that happening, sure, at the right time. I saw a very interesting President Putin today. I mean, he wants to see it happen. He wants to see it. He told me very strongly. I believe him. Don't forget, we went through the Russia hoax together. And he'd call me, I'd call him, I'd say, can you believe the stuff that they're making up? And it turned out we were right. They made it all up. And despite that, we didn't get into wars or we didn't get into problems, but we weren't able to trade very much or any of that, which was a shame because, you know, a lot of success could have been had by trading with Russia. They have great land, great minerals and other things, and we have things that they want very badly. But the Russia hoax, which was a terrible...
I want to see the next Democratic president impose maximum sanctions on Russia and every single country that supports Russia. Russia and every single country that like trades with Russia or does work with Russia should immediately be sanctioned. I think we should place troops all throughout Eastern Europe and just be on the, not offense, but act like we have the power that we do. I want to see the next Democratic president stand up to Russia once and for all. I am so sick of this weakness on the global stage. I'm going to leave it there. If you appreciate these videos, drop a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.